Good morning. Yesterday we finished Acts chapter 18, verse 22. We have the rest of chapter 18, verses 23 through 28, which we'll deal with today. Yesterday we finished Paul at Corinth, and then he sails off from Ephesus, and now we look at the beginning of Paul's third missionary journey. I only wanted to look at a few verses today. It's just going to be a short little video, at least it should be. So starting at verse 23, let's read here. And having spent some time there, he left and passed successively through the Galatian region and Phrygia, strengthening all the disciples. Now, what does it mean it spent some time there? We have to always look at context. So verse 22, when he had landed at Caesarea, he went up and greeted the church and went down to Antioch. So he spent some time there would be Antioch. Now remember, Antioch is a major sending church in the book of Acts. Antioch sent out, if I recall correctly, Paul was in Antioch in Acts 13 when they're sent out as missionaries on the first missionary journey. And Antioch was also planted likely by lay people. It shows how important it is. Lay people, every Christian is a missionary. Every Christian God is using in their sphere of influence, the people they're around to share the gospel with others, plant churches, and do many different things. So, having spent some time there, which is Antioch, he left and passed successively through the Galatian region and Phrygia, and strengthening all the disciples. Notice that, strengthening all the disciples, not some, all. Strengthening the disciples. They are building them up. They are building them up with fellowship and with discipleship. They're building them up. And are we building up others? Are we strengthening others? Are we helping others be disciples? Verse 24. Now a Jew named Apollos, an Alexandrian by birth, an eloquent man, came to Ephesus and was mighty in scriptures. So this is a Jewish man, Apollos. He's eloquent. Alexandrian. By the way, Alexandria had the largest library known historically, and then there was a great fire, and that fire we thought pretty much got rid of most of the library books. You know, they couldn't just back them up like we can back up a hard drive, and but so they were known as kind of a scholarly center. Alexandria, Egypt was. Now they found out later on all the books weren't burned, but a significant number of them, a large library anyway. So this guy's an Alexandrian by birth, which was kind of a scholarly center. That was my point in that. He's eloquent. He came to Ephesus, and he was mighty in scriptures. Verse 25. This man had been instructed in the way of the Lord, and being fervent in spirit, he was speaking and teaching accurately the things concerning Jesus, being acquainted only with the baptism of John. So he was teaching and speaking accurately the things about the Messiah, Jesus, but it seems like all he knew about was how John the Baptizer talked about Jesus coming. So verse 26, and he began to speak out boldly. Notice these modifiers. He speak out boldly in the synagogue. But when Priscilla and Aquila heard him, they took him aside and explained to him the way of God more accurately. So he's very accurate as a Jewish man talking about the Messiah. But it sounds like he just did not know that Jesus died and rose again. He did not know the complete truth. So Priscilla and Aquila kind of corrected him there. In verse 27, and when he wanted to go across to Achaia is a broader region of Corinth, the brethren encouraged him and wrote to the disciples to welcome him. And when he had arrived, he greatly helped those who had believed through grace. For he powerfully refuted the Jews in public, demonstrating by the scriptures that Jesus was the Christ. So it seems like this man, Apollos, who became very important as we go through the New Testament, knew kind of partial truth. And Priscilla and Aquila helped and encouraged him with the full, complete truth. They taught him the full, complete truth. And it seems like he was he accepted that truth. He might have been saved before, but he was a little bit in the dark. He was a little bit in the dark on some things. And now he knows the complete truth. And guess what? He's proclaiming the truth. He's teaching the scriptures. He's explaining the scriptures. God's using Apollos mightily. So this is kind of the beginning of Paul's third missionary journey, but also the story of Apollos and how Apollos came in. And just remember verse 28. For he powerfully refuted the Jews in public. This is Apollos. Powerfully refuted the Jews in public. Demonstrating by the scriptures. How does he demonstrate? By the scriptures that Jesus was the Christ. The scriptures are important. The scriptures are powerful. And we need to stay true to the word of God and the testimony of Jesus Christ. Hope this encouraged you in your walk with the Lord. Have a great day. God bless.